begin by asking Andy the obvious question, why? Why did you write this book, Andy?
Why did I write this book? There's a long answer to that, and before I do share that, I just wanted to say intentionally today, I don't know any questions that Paul is going to ask me. So we live in a world that's very much staged with our social media, our reality or unreality TV shows, and we decided that I'll trust Paul to ask the right questions, I hope. But I wanted to run this book launch, probably different to every other book launch, because that's how I've run my life. And so we decided that I don't have a clue what he's going to ask me. And that's how the book's written. It's not written in long, fancy words or sentences. It's written from the heart, and it's written authentically me. So I just wanted to get that across. So why did I write the book? Well, some years ago, I had a very successful conference and event management business back in 2001. I think I started that business. Fast forward a few years, it was a really, really successful business. Very, very successful business. I was doing conferences all around the world, but the only problem was I was working 7 days a week, spending very little time doing the other stuff that I wanted to do, spending very little time with family. It was just the business became my life. Fast forward to 2012, had a bit of change in life circumstances and become a single man again. And I come across a book called The 4-Hour Work Week. And I still don't believe there is such a thing as the 4-hour work week. But what I did like about the book, or what resonated with me was the concept of actually transitioning your business so you could operate it working from anywhere and spend more time actually living life. So I picked this book up at an airport because I used to do a fair bit of travel and I didn't have time to, never had time to pick up a book anywhere else. I used to grab one at the airport. So I decided that's what I do. I transition my conference business so I could work from anywhere. Not only did I do that, I decided, as I do, I went the whole hog and I booked myself a ticket to France for the following year. I'd always wanted to go back to the French Alps. I'd been there before with a group of mates cycling. For those that you know me, I'm a crazy keen cyclist. So I decided I'd go over there and I'd ride my bike and I'd run my successful conference business from there. Long story short, nothing went wrong. I was able to go over there and run my business for a month. From there, ride the hills on my bike. Went so well that the following year I went back for 2 months, and the year after I went back for 3 months. And the biggest thing I discovered, and all the time I was running very, very big events from over there, connecting with my staff member back in Australia. But the biggest thing I discovered about that was it wasn't about where you worked, it was also about when you worked. So when I was trapped in my business, always working, I went over there and I was in a different time zone. So the only opportunity I had to connect with my staff or clients was first thing in the morning. So I'd do that, and then I'd look outside and see the mountains and my bike in the corner. I thought, I'm going for a bike ride. So I went for a bike ride, and then I'd come back and work later. If the weather was crappy, I'd work in the morning and then do something else later on in the day. So it changed not just the way I worked, it changed the way I lived my life. So instead of working in 8-hour blocks like the industrial world has taught us, which absolutely doesn't work, I was, instead of fitting my work around my life rather than my life around my work. It was absolutely life-changing, and it brought so many opportunities living life that way instead of the conventional way. So I'd come home and do exactly the same thing when I come back here to Tathra. I'd work for a little while, get a bit tired and needed a break, so I'd go for a walk on the beach, or I'd go for a bike ride, and then I'd come back and work later. So what I was doing, and it allowed me to do things in France that wasn't even on the radar. I become part of the community over there. I started hiking over there. I went to their local parties and their local festivities, and it was amazing. I'm getting to the answer to this question. I am. Sorry. No, I'm not sorry. This is the... and what happened from there, and this gets to the point of why I wrote this book, I'd come back and I'd see my friends, my colleagues and other people in business in exactly the same place I was a few years ago. They were trapped working in their business and what I call deferring living life until later. We all know someone that has devoted the prime of their life to building their super nest egg so they could live life later in retirement when they've got time and they've got money. But unfortunately for many, they don't get the health. And we all know someone, and we've all had people, and I've had many people I know that haven't made it to retirement or got to retirement in ill health, and everything that they've had on that bucket list, they haven't had the opportunity to do. So I decided I wanted to make it, and it felt like, and it is my life purpose, to come back and share what I discovered with other business owners, and not just other business owners, other people, no matter what you're doing in your life, to share what I've discovered and encourage and get people to stop deferring living life until later and to make the most of every day, to, as you know, Carpe Diem, to seize every moment, every day. And that's why I wrote the book, is to get that message out there. It's really important to me, and I think it's hopefully really important to a lot of other people. Short
Thanks,
answer?
Andy. No, it's lovely. It's a great purpose that you're demonstrating, and a lot of people would realise the value in what you're saying, because we do live in a very fast, rapid-paced world with high expectations, and sometimes our priorities aren't quite what they should be. And it's until you have a point in time where you need to reflect, perhaps, that you realise where the opportunities are for you to have a more enriched life. So we're talking about the use of technology, and technology doesn't come easily to some people, but it's not the technology. For me, it seems like it's the mindset. Would you like to tell us a little bit about the mindset that's required for the Carpe Diem Way?
Sure. It's good on me for trusting you to ask the right questions. That is the right question, because the mindset. So technology is very black and white. Technology is a challenge for many people, and I enjoy technology, but I enjoy making technology very, very simple. Unlike a lot of other technical type people who want to show everyone the fancy tricks they can do with 17 different apps, I like to bring it and make it all very simple and share just what works. But the technology does help the mindset, but the biggest challenge that I've found with every single person that I've worked with is the mindset. And some of those challenges revolve around, because part of what I share, what I teach, part of the program is learning to set your business up so it's not reliant on not just yourself or any one person. So it's setting your business up so you don't have to be there all the time, it runs consistently, but also set up so other people can come into the business and operate their business from anywhere, at any time, and on any device. But the biggest challenge for business owners, especially small business owners, is they've built the business from scratch. They know how to run the business, and often it starts off as a small business and grows and grows and grows. How to run that business is mostly here, in their head. And of course, most business owners, they're the best person to do that job. Now, if they're the best person to do every single thing in their business, the challenge is that means they have to be there all the time. So the biggest mindset shift for everyone I work with is that letting go. It's all okay to get the technology that allows other people to run your business, systemize your business so people can just walk in and walk out. But to actually let go is really challenging. As part of a previous program that I ran, it was a 6-month program, and it finished with a 1-week retreat in the French Alps, as you do, because this is not about technology, it's about life. So that was the living it part of the program. And by the time we got there, there was nothing else to teach these people. But the whole week revolved around having conversations around these challenges of guilt, letting go because they weren't there, because they felt that their staff thought that if they're not there, then they don't care about their business. It's got exactly the opposite effect. If you're not there in your business and you're entrusting your team to run your business, you're empowering them, they actually work better and they feel better about it. Some of the other feelings of guilt was people that do work 7 days a week and they've got young families, and they're so involved in their business because they have to be there because they're the only ones that know how to run the business and know how to do things. It's that guilt of not being there for their family and the other people in their lives. And I'll tell you, that week, and it's happened this week, we've got a tag-along camp this week down at Tathra Beachside. Same conversations happened, and there were tears all through that week. It's very, very emotional. Like, it tingles just thinking about it. There were tears and emotions throughout that week as people worked through those mindset challenges, and they realised that everyone else is in the same boat. And I think most people in this room, especially the business owners, can relate to the challenge of letting go. Anyone agree with me? Surely. Yes? Yeah. So that's the mindset. The technology you can teach, the mindset takes a lot longer. But working together in groups with like-minded people is the way to push through that the mindset.
Thanks, Andy. It might be a great opportunity to throw over to Jackie Parry. Jackie was actually a contributor to the book. If you've had a chance to have a look at the book, Jackie's up front with a little bit of an intro. Jackie, what's your Carpe Diem experience?
Have a seat with me. Go on.
Hi. So I was with this group of lovely business people learning how to run a business, and everyone's saying, you need Andy. What the hell are you doing that like that for? And I was like, oh yeah, nagging me to death. And finally I linked up with Andy and I did his program, and I thought I didn't have time to invest time in another program. For goodness sake, I'm doing one already. But I got all that time back in spades and streamlined my business, and that was the start of my journey getting my life back. I was 18, 20 hours a day, literally 7 hours a week, lost my health and lost my life. I'm digging myself out of that now, and I was amazed how much I got back. The investment you make in time and money, you get back just a lot. Then 2 days ago, I was taking my computer in to be upgraded. It was getting slow, driving me nuts. And as I was about to leave, my computer died, hard drive died, everything gone. I've got a year's worth of videos, 5 years worth of books, technical books and manuals. I'm a maritime trainer. I do boating training, recreational and commercial. And mild panic set in. I went, oh no, hang on a minute. Andy helped me get all that on the cloud, on my OneDrive. Oh, that's all right. Made it very easy for me to go and spend $2,000 on a new laptop. Within an hour, nothing's changed, except I've got a much faster laptop. And it occurred to me that had I not met Andy, I would have had an old backup of those files. And when I really thought about it, that old backup I did would have been a year old. Not only would I lost all that work, I don't think I'd be in business. I've had the last 2 years have been extremely busy, especially with COVID, flipping things to online. I wouldn't have done that again, so I wouldn't be in business now. So I turned up and gave Andy a big hug and said, "You've saved my business." So, if you've got a business and you haven't invested that time, you'll get it back, and it may just save your business one day. So I have my life back. Thank you.
Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, Jackie. And Jackie is one example of the work that Andy has done with people to liberate them from their workplaces, their businesses, but also to build security around the business so that you're not dependent on the technology. You've got a process in place where you can access the information you need anywhere, anytime, any device. So whether it's a phone, a laptop, an iPad, you have that capacity no matter where you are, as long as you've got internet connection to be able to access that work, which is really critical, because if you lose it all, obviously a lifetime's worth of work, it's hugely challenging. And Justine is a main character in your book, a bit of a case study.
Yep.
And unfortunately, Justine couldn't make it here today. I'll let her explain why, but Andy has a video that he'd like to share with Justine.
There's a backup. If one plan doesn't work, go with plan B.
Called me up and said, "Oh, we're going to do the book launch."
Plan B.
I said, "You're not going to believe it." I actually laughed when Andy called me up and said, "Oh, we're going to do the book launch, and can you come?" I said, "You're not going to believe it, but I'm actually taking myself away on a retreat that if it wasn't for your program would have never done. So no, I can't be there." I'm taking some time out with no internet. My business is now 4 years old, and because of Andy's program, I'm actually taking real time out where I don't do any work, but the business is still operating without me.
What first inspired you to embrace WFA?
Well, to be honest, we have a caravan, and what first inspired me was I was hoping to be able to go away in the caravan more often, but work was kind of holding me back. And when I heard about Andy's program, I thought, this would be perfect to be able to enable my business so that it was more portable. Yeah.
So what happened when you dug a little bit deeper with WFA?
Yeah, the first step was to go onto the cloud, and that was excellent. The first time that I remember being more challenged about what I'd set out to do was when Andy introduced the thought of a virtual assistant. And I remember thinking, I wouldn't have anything for them to do. But through the exercises that Andy got us to do, and the accountability map was key to that, I started to realise that, actually, if I want to get more flexibility and have more time outside the business, I need to offload some of this admin, and maybe this is one solution. And so I realised I was recreating the wheel a lot. And Angie got me to have a look at System Hub and go through some processes where I had to write down how I did things. Now, I was forced to do that because I brought Menna on and I needed to show her what I was doing. And I really had to sit and think through it. It was difficult. It was one of the best things I've done because it made me realise I was wasting a lot of time. So I went through that process, and Menna then took on the role of systematizing my business. So every time we had to do something more than once, we made sure we documented how we did it. And then we built into we have weekly meetings. We built into our weekly meetings, updating those systems based on making sure that the clients have a better experience.
What about the mindset, the impact on you and the way you thought about business and your leisure time?
Yeah, well, one of the things is I felt calmer. I noticed that I was feeling anxious a lot. Before that, I felt like I was making up on the fly a lot, and that created a lot of anxiety, and that was having an impact outside the business, and how I felt about the business and myself. But to be honest, the biggest shift that I really had happened in France when we went to the French Alps, which was an absolutely phenomenal experience, and I'll be forever grateful for that, and for the people that I met and went on the journey with me. But I remember sitting under the trees out the back of where we were staying, and we were having a conversation, and it just dawned on me that I could work from anywhere, but I was continuing to compartmentalize my life. And what I mean by that is I was going away in the caravan, and yes, I could work, but in my head, if it was a work day, I just worked somewhere else, and I worked all day, and I'd lock myself in the caravan and sort of shoo my family away and say, no, it's a work day. And what I realized, and one of Andy's sayings that hit home for me was, it's not about work-life balance. It's about integrating your life. And I realized at that moment, and I remember I had tears, how much Nash in particular, who's my now 4-year-old son, how much I was taking away from him because of this kind of rigid mindset I had about work. So that was a very powerful moment for me.
So the whole concept of the tag along being people getting out of their workplace, coming to a different location, perhaps coming with a slightly different mindset and sharing that space and time and mindset with other people was your France experience. So obviously you saw it as being of benefit. What would you say to people considering a tag along experience?
Oh, definitely do it. I mean, I must admit, when I got to France and I realized how much we were doing outside of doing work, I had a little bit of a moment of panic because I remember thinking, when am I going to actually run this business? Like, doesn't Andy realize I got clients and I've got this and that? And so I had to go through a bit of a process of realigning my diary so I could participate in some of the things that we did, like the e-biking and the hikes, which were phenomenal experiences. But through those experiences, we were talking about our business and because we were with other like-minded business owners, and that's where the real sharing happened. Like, we'd been doing masterminds together, but it really cemented it for me in France. But yeah, there was a moment of panic. So I would say to people, take the leap, be prepared to integrate life. So not have big chunks of time where you're going to actually just be working, because that's not where it's not where the learning happens. It's not where the mindset shift happens.
What's the biggest difference WFA has made for you?
That's a big question, Paul. I feel calmer. I don't experience the same levels of anxiety. My clients actually get a better experience. And I'm now thinking like a business owner. I think before I was thinking like a worker, even though I was in the business. The program totally shifted the way I looked at my business and my role in it. Some of what I did differently, when I came back from France, I actually booked to do a Pilates class in the middle of what I would have termed a work day. I would have never done that before. Now, that sounds ridiculous, but I still had such a mindset of being in a job and that work was in these set hours. I was running my own business to give myself flexibility, but I'd locked myself in even more. And if it wasn't for Andy's program, I'd probably still be there. Anything you'd like to say to Andy before leaving us? Andy, you know that I am eternally grateful, one, for your friendship and your support, but also because you helped me see that things could be done differently. You helped me get out of my own way. I use this term in my own coaching business around getting on the balcony. You helped me get on the balcony, not just for my business, but for my whole life. And so, I'm forever grateful.
And you saw a demonstration of the Andy approach to technology. You've got everything backed up. If you need to, go to plan B, and everything works really well. So a fantastic little piece from Justine, which articulates a lot of what the book actually outlines. But there's been a tag-along experience this week, Andy. How's that been?
Interesting. No, there has been a tag-along experience. So for those of you that don't know, This week is our first ever Working From Anywhere tag-along camp at Tathra Beachside. Carmen's looked after us amazingly. So the whole idea of the tag-along and previously the trip to France, it's the live in it part of the program. You know, it's all okay to work from home or work differently, but this is about living life as a priority. And it's been a challenge for some, and Justine mentioned it, you know, doesn't Andy know I've got clients and, you know, appointments. It's all about taking control of your time and creating your own choices around not just where but when you work. So this week, the tag along, we've had a kayak tour, an e-bike tour, we've had campsite games, but we've also worked. So we've used the beach barn to work together. We've had collaboration sessions, but it's all about actually living it. Whilst the technology's there and that's all well and good, that secures your business, my biggest message is around living life now, and that's what the tag along is all about. And it's being around other people to be supported as you do that and realise that everyone's got the same challenges. But it's been an amazing experience. The people are here that are at that. We did have a lovely dinner out at Blend, which some of the people got a bit rowdy for some reason. But anyway, I think that indicates that they were having a bit of fun too. And that's what it's all about. We're only here once. It's about having a bit of fun. So that's what the tag along's about. And this one's a test model to test the model here in the Sapphire Coast, but I intend to run more of these, and it's going to be a big part of what I do, because for those people that do know me, I actually like to run events and create experiences, and so it gives me the opportunity to do everything I love. I can share my purpose and deliver on my purpose and run events and create experiences for people. Want to do it on the Sapphire Coast. So the next ones will be getting people from outside of the area to come here to the Sapphire Coast in the off-peak season to spend longer times here. People that have businesses, getting them with money to come here and continue to earn money, stay here for longer in the off-peak periods and spend money in our economy. So that's what the tag-along's all about.
And Andy has identified that we have participants from the tag-along here today, and Mel Barnes. Would you mind coming up and sharing a couple of your insights of your experience, please?
Thanks, mate. So, just before Mel speaks, everyone did get handed a copy of the book, and I gave them homework. They had to go back and read it. No, they didn't really have to, but they all got handed a book on the first day to get the opportunity in their downtime to actually read it. And I think Mel's been reading the book,
yep,
doing his homework.
I've been very studious every night. Yep. I want to go back a step, actually. Andy, quite a number of years ago, approached a few business people in the Bega Valley to come together for a brainstorming session about his idea of working from anywhere. And there was a lot of support in that room. We fed him lots of different ideas, and I know his initial model for the whole concept was quite different to what he's ended up with. Paul was there, and some of the business people, like myself, have got a business where you need to be hands-on. Like, we've got to serve customers, I've got to physically make pizzas. How do I do that remotely? And this is something that I and a number of other people there struggled with, and it's not until this week, and I've only recently signed up with Andy's program, and it's only this tag-along week that I've realised that yes, it is possible to do that. I at the point in my life where I'm thinking, do I want to retire? Do I want to sell the business? I've been there nearly 15 years at Mal's in Bega. Number of other years and other pizzas. We worked out the other day, we've made over 1 million pizzas in that time. So I'm just about at the point where I'm thinking, what do I really want to do? Well, I don't want to let go of Mal's Pizza Bite. I'm not ready to do that yet. So using this program, I realise there's ways that I can do that. I will still have days at the shop where I do that one-on-one with the customers, because that's what I really enjoy doing. I love having that contact with the customers, right? But there's so many other things that I can do where I don't have to be there every day, and I can make sure the business still runs well. And it was this tag-along camp and reading the book that I've had my aha moment. And that is, not only can I now run the business remotely, I can get my own life in order, my personal life in order. I, like most other people here, probably still got filing cabinets with all your stuff stored away. I think we've got 2 filing cabinets. When the fires came through, both the Tathra ones and the other ones last year, we live at Reedy Swamp, and we evacuated both times. And you're at that point, what do I take? What do I take? You know, what do I... 2 filing cabinets, how can I take all that stuff with me, you know? It just doesn't happen. So now I've realised there's a way that we can control our own personal lives using a lot of Andy's techniques as well as the business life. So that was my aha moment for the week. But, you know, it's great spending time with the people that are at this tag-along camp, a wonderful bunch of business like-minded people, and we're having a lot of fun. You know, we're really stepping outside the comfort zone for some of us. We're getting plenty of time to relax. The kayaking and the bike rides are just a standout. You know, Andy's ability to organise activities is just fantastic, and we're finding we're all slipping into that and really enjoying ourselves. So, yeah, well done, Andy. It's been a great experience, and I hope you do get many more of them, many more people to tag along with you.
Thanks, Bill.
Andy's a bit conscious that we don't want to have you here too long, but I'm sure everyone's really enjoyed the experience hearing those stories. It's enriching because it's authentic, as Andy said earlier, and there's a bit of depth to this. It's not just a superficial approach to how you manage your business and open up opportunity in your life to spend more time doing what's important, but there is some real substance to it. And no doubt, Andy, there are quite a few people you'd like to thank as part of this process.
There's been a lot of people, many people in this room to start with, that have supported me through my time, through the working from anywhere, you know, starting working from anywhere, and the book writing process. But one person in particular is my sister, who actually lives in Bali, in a very, very tiny village in the hills above Ubud. So she's very, very isolated. But we've worked using a shared Google document. I think my sister Karen, she's actually put in as many hours on the book as I have. So I'm very much challenged for writing. It's really difficult for me. It takes me a long time to write an email. To write a book, it's taken me 2.5 years. So I'd write, and then we shared the document, and Karen would run her eye over it. She actually enjoys writing. She gave me some tips and comments, but yeah, and she does not like technology. So reading my book for her, in part, was really challenging for her because she doesn't enjoy that. But she was able to comment, and she understands my voice, and she knows me very well. So she's read and reread and suggested and reread and suggested more over the 2.5 years. So it's been an enormous effort. She literally has probably read the book more times than I have and spent as many hours on it. So I'd really like to, in her absence, this is on video, so Karen, thank you so much. Very, very supportive. I've had a book coach through this process. Who would have thought that, you know, for anyone that hasn't written a book, it's not as simple as just writing a book. You know, you need help. And so I decided early on that I needed all the help I could get. So I engaged a book coach. Her name is Jackie Lane, and she's been incredible. She's got a business called The Book Advisor. She's worked with me through the 2.5 years too, and she's got a program herself that sets you up on how to write a book and all the processes and structure and procedures. Who would have thought? It's been a huge process. I've got Arthur Luke. He's my man. He's from the UK. He designed the book cover and done an amazing job. but also he done the interior design. You know, you think, okay, I've written the book now, we'll just print it. That's got to be easy. No, more work. He's got to design the interior, do all the... So one thing led to another. So Arthur Luke, thank you. Paul has been my mentor right from the start, so thank you, Paul, for all the years of support. I'm going to forget lots of other people, the people that I've mentioned in the book. Pam Murray up the back there, and Pam and Ian and Kay, who gave me my first opportunity in life, and that's got nothing to do with the book, but everything to do with the book. They gave me a job way back in 1990, probably 96, I think, or somewhere like that, as a manager of a bottle shop. And just like everything else in life, I said I could do it, and then worked out how later, but they believed in me and gave me my first break. So everyone else, there's been many other people that have helped me. If I've missed you out, everyone that supported me, thank you so much. It's something that I needed the support, and I absolutely got it. And this support today, to have this room full, I'd really like to thank everyone for your support.
Well done, Andy. Well, thank you for joining us once again. At the conclusion of this morning's event, Andy will be signing books. If you're interested, if you haven't already got an autographed copy, you're welcome to join Andy for a book signing. But questions from the floor. Does anybody have any questions for Andy they'd like to ask? Jackie?
I've been part of the Tag Along Week, and I'm always amazed how much I continue to learn from colleagues there and yourself, just on how to do this, what's the way of doing that, how to talk about. I want to know what you got from this one.
Oh, I thought Paul was going to ask the tough questions. So Jackie's asking me what I got from this week. I'll tell you what I got from this week. I got a whole lot of joy. Put very simply, to see that come together, I get joy out of helping people. I get joy out of seeing people do things differently. I get joy out of seeing people happy and seeing those aha moments. So for me, quite simply, one word, it just brings me joy.
Any other questions?
This is a tiny question, just a yes or no answer. Is that the French Alps?
No. Unfortunately, I wish it was.
Is that you, Andy?
Same, no. I have lots of pictures of me in the mountains, but advice was to go with something. And I do take advice from experts. And the designer said to me, if you saw this book if it was in a bookshelf, would you pick it up?
Yes.
So, yeah.
When's the next one?
The next tag along, 10th to the 17th of May at Tathra Beachside. See, you thought I was going to start it. I've got it in place, yes. Yeah, 10th to 17th. And then later on in the year, looking potentially to do a 3-week tag along, which will be 1 week Tathra, 1 week Merimbula, Pambula, 1 week Eden, and give people the opportunity to come for 1 week, 2 weeks, or the real people to come for 3 weeks. The ones that really want to live life can come for the whole 3 weeks.
Have you given any time to what you could do if you reversed your 3-letter acronym on your shirt there, Andy? What would it be? The WFA was AFW. What do you think that could conjure up?
Gee, talk about tough questions.
I've got one. I'm not going to say it, but I think it's always working from anywhere, and it'd be no life, always working. So there's one you can put in your neck.
Okay. Can I? Your question was, have you? I'll just answer your first question. Have I given it any thought? The answer is no. I'll get back to you. Away from work. Work's part of life. Yeah. It's Ben.
Is like the ultimate aim to make yourself obsolete? Like Like you can work from anywhere, you could set up processes so that anybody can come in and do the job that you're doing.
No, the answer to that is the majority of people are in business because they enjoy that business. They've got into that business because it's something they like doing. So no, you don't want to make yourself obsolete. If you want to make yourself obsolete, sell your business. So I believe it's got the potential to not retire, but because another challenge people have is when they do make themselves obsolete or retire, they lose a sense of purpose. And that causes health problems, causes all other sorts of problems. So I believe the best option is not to make yourself obsolete, but to be able to continue to have purpose in your business, but it just runs more consistently and you're empowering other people to help you in that whole process. So absolutely, it keeps as part of your life.
Beautiful answer.
Yeah. Stick.
I've got a question. Your comment just now leads on to another very important part of business and running a business, and that it's leadership. And you've alluded to it without using the term leadership. Can you reflect on the importance of leadership in setting the culture of the organisation or culture of the business runs under, and how that builds into your program?
Gee, I really did think you were going to do the tough questions.
I've been superseded.
Leadership, and that's what it is all about. Leadership is important, and part of leadership is empowering your people, and leading by example, but without doing everything for them. So, it is all about leadership, and you're setting yourself up to be a good leader if you've got the processes, and we'll call it the processes in place, for other people to join you in your business team. Does that answer your question roundabout? And we did say this was going to be authentically me stumbling around. Yep.
No other questions?
I'll stick. You've got one more.
If you don't mind, Stig, I might compliment Andy's answer by saying, in part, it's about self-leadership. You can't lead others until you lead yourself. And this is about your self-leadership. It's about putting your priorities in place. It's about understanding who you are, how you fit in, what enriches you, what values drive you, how you leave a legacy. All of us would love to leave a legacy. What does that look like? How are you demonstrating your purpose in life? Once you've got that sorted, then you're in a really good position to lead others, and you've got the systems, processes, and the support to do so. So, sorry for pinching a little bit of that, Andy, but working with Andy, that's where I get a lot of this comes from, because Andy's demonstrated that self-leadership, perhaps at times lost a bit of bark doing so, and having that really deep experience, being able to share that with others is the value that Andy brings to the programs he delivers and the book that he's written. So once again, can you join me please in congratulating Andy on a fantastic achievement? And I'll just leave it to Andy for the last word.
Well, firstly, thanks again, Paul, for today. He's done well without asking me too many tough questions. I just want to finish with coming back to why I wrote this book. I'm going to have to be careful here. Give me a minute. I wrote this book to share a message. The message is important. I wrote the book to help people to live today and don't risk deferring living until later. So I encourage you, if you've already got this book, fantastic. If you haven't got the book, please buy the book. If you already do have the book, consider getting the book and helping somebody else. We all know someone out there that needs to hear this message, that may be trapped in their life, in their business. I've written this book to share a message. I didn't write it to make money. I would encourage and ask everyone if you can help me share this message. Thank you.